for Christ. Them caters love him some Christ. Alright, I'm kidding, y'all. What's up, YouTube? Alright, y'all. So this video was posted. This video was recorded at approximately 1:20 a.m. I procrastinated. This video was recorded so late because I just did a 21-day fast, and at 12 I was allowed to get on social media, and I spent an hour and a half scrolling on social media after just fasting 21 days, saying I wasn't gonna get on social media, and I just procrastinated. So I deleted social media again. But look, y'all, I got this story. All right. So a lot of y'all are familiar with Esau and Jacob, the whole shebang of what happened, right? But I really want to unpack it, right? Really look at it from like another lens, right? So to kind of give y'all some familiarity on it, right? So Jacob and Esau, they were the son of Isaac, and Isaac was the son of Abraham, right? So Isaac, Isaac was the son of Abraham. Isaac was blessed, right? The Lord had blessed Isaac, right? And Isaac had two sons, right? And they were born at the same time. Isaac had two sons, one named Jacob and Esau, and they were born at the same time, right? And the Lord told Isaac, like, there was so much the Lord told Isaac when they were both in the womb, there was so much, like the mother was under so much pain. Like she was in so much pain because the two boys were like tumbling in the womb, like they were tumbling in the womb. And God told him, like, look, like these two boys are gonna be rivals. Like these two boys are rival, and it even starts in the womb, right? But Esau was considered, the older brother, because although, they were born at the same time, like he came out first, and then so it was Esau, then Jacob. So back then, the birthright, right? The birthright, which would be like the inheritance, the blessing, always goes to the oldest child. And since although they were born at the same time, Esau, came out the womb first. Esau, received the birthright. So Esau and Jacob were two different people, right? Esau was a skilled hunter, like a skilled hunter, and so he was an outdoors guy, and he was a very furry guy. Like he was really hairy, right? And his brother Jacob, was totally different, Like he had a more of a quiet temperament, right? Not like totally opposite people, right? So you got this outdoorsy, manly man guy killing the older brother, and then the younger brother was more like a quiet, laid back. He liked to be in the house, right? So two different type of people and their rivals. So one day Esau, the older brother, the manly man one, he's out hunting, right? He's out hunting, doing his thing. He's out hunting, doing his manly man thing. He comes inside and he tells his brother, he's like, look, he sees his brother eating at the dinner table while he been out. He's like, look, I am starving. Please let me have some of that food you're eating. Like, please, like I am finna die of starvation. I can't take it no longer. And his brother Jacob's like, oh really? You say you're hungry? Okay. You want some of this food right here? All right, no problem. Just sell me your birthright. And he like, wait, what? And he's like, yeah, just trade me a birthright. You can have some food. You're hungry, right? Y'all don't want you to die of starvation, big fella. Just trade me a birthright. I let you have some of my soup. And I'm gonna stop right there. So his brother Jacob, the younger brother, told him, like, look, I will give you something. Jacob saw him in need, and he's like, look, I will help you under these conditions. He said, I will give you something to eat, but trade me your right as the firstborn son. And I want to stop right there. I'm gonna say it again. He said, but trade me your right as the firstborn son. So he said, I will give you something, but he had to trade him that right. And he told him, he was like, look, you have to agree by oath that the blessing that you get as a birthright, it now comes to me. And I want to stop right there. He said, but trade me your right as the firstborn son. Now, Jacob saw what Esau had ahead of him. Esau, by being the firstborn son, he had a future ahead of him. Like he had, a future and a plan, like plans waiting on him, right? And Jacob saw that, right? Jacob saw his value as being the firstborn son, and there was value in being that because you were going to receive a blessing. And Jacob saw that, and Jacob wanted that. Jacob realized what he had. And I wanted to ask you that, do you realize have you realized the value that's in yourself? Like the value, like the future that you may have, right? Better yet, I want to take it a step further than that. Have people realize the value that's on your life? And have they tried to take you away from your future, right? Like when people see your value and gifts and realize what possessed inside of you, have you ever felt that they might have tried to take it away, right? Like there's gifts and talents inside of you that's gonna set you up for a future. Like you have a future inside, a future planned for you, right? Like things are in store for you, but have you felt as if like there's people in your life, maybe close to you, right, that may be trying to take you away from that path, right? Right, like you have value that's going to provide you a future. Have you realized, or have people around you try to take you away from that future, right? Because a lot of times, like we don't realize it, but like we might not realize our value. We might not know our worth, right? And how much, how much our value is going to set up our future. But like other people do, right? Like we may not recognize our light or appreciate our value in our light, but like other people do. And what people are going to do to your light, they're going to try to put a cap on it, right? They're going to try to dim your light. Like they're going to try to dim your light and stop you from like where you're going to want to be and where what is destined for you. They're going to try to take your blessing away, right? They're going to do different things. They're going to try to distract you, right? They're going to try to speak negatively into like your situation, just trying to cap your potential. And like I'm really curious, like how have you reacted in those moments, right? Because I think it's so often like we gotta really assess like how do we react to them. Better yet, not how we react to those in those moments, but I think we really have to assess like what are we doing? Are we protecting our blessing? Like the things that's in store for us, are we protecting our blessing, right? Because Esau didn't do that. Like Esau obviously didn't protect his value into what he had, right? And I want to ask you, like, are you doing that, right? Like, are you allowing people to take and snatch away like the future that you have in store for you? And because this happens all the time. Like I said, people recognize your skills and your gifts and your talent, and they're gonna try to dim your light. And we need to protect like what God has, like the future has in store for us, like the things that God has put inside of us. Because if we don't, we are going to allow people to take us away from like what's, the things that's awaiting us. And I want to go to verse 32. Right after he said, "But trade me your rights as the firstborn son." He responded. He said, "Well, what good is my birthright now?" So he basically agreed to this for this temporary satisfaction. Oh my goodness, for this temporary pleasure, right? Just to have a bowl, he was so in need. He traded for the future for right now. He traded So he traded he traded his future for temporary pleasure. And that goes back to my the point I made earlier. Like people will come in your life, right? And they're going to present temporary pleasures to you, right? People who are going to try to take you away from your calling and the things that you like, the things that are going to set you apart. They're going to be temporary pleasures that take you away from those things. And that's basically what he did. He was like, he was so hungry, I guess. Like he was so hungry from being outside, he just traded his whole future away. And he basically was like, well, what good is my birthright right now? Like, Dad's still alive. Like, Dad hasn't passed away. So what's good is, me being in his will. Like, it's not going to do me no justice right now. I'm still hungry. What is it going to do? And Esau, being the older brother, didn't see the importance of his value. He didn't know his worth. He knew himself as a skillful hunter. And that's all he saw himself as, right? I think that's the same thing we do. He was a skillful hunter, and all we do is see ourselves as our career, right? Whatever we're doing, whatever we're pursuing, that's all we see ourselves as, right? Whether that be teacher, entrepreneur, musician, like that's all we see, and that's who we are. But he didn't know, that's what he was. That was his title, but there was much more in store for him. And he didn't know what was awaiting him in the future was much more bigger than his present. And we often lose sight of what's in store for us is much bigger than our right now, right? Like he said, like, what's good is my birthright right now. It's not doing me no justice right now. So what's the point of even worrying about it? So he traded his whole future for his right now circumstances. And that's a lot of times we do, right? We get sidetracked off our future, right? So there's things that, like right now, we're setting ourselves up for life that we want to live someday, right? Like the things, our daily habits, our daily things that we do daily are setting us up for 5 years, 10 years from now, a year from now for that much, right? But the actions that the distractions that are set in front of us right now are going to take us away from that. Does that make sense? And that's exactly what Esau did, right? So he traded his whole future away for what's right now, right? Because he was in a place of discomfort, uncomfort right now. He was so hungry, he traded his future away. And that's what we're doing. We're like, what's the point of worrying about 5 years, 10 years from now? Like, what that's gonna do me no justice right now, right? I'm broke right now. What's the point of even trying to be rich? What's me trying to set a situation up or trying to set my goals up for me to be rich 5 years from now? What's riches being wealthy or being in a great situation 5 years from now gonna do me justice right now? I'm broke right now. I'm broke right now. What's that gonna do? And it's not about materialistic things or even, a place of healing, right? Like we could be damaged, right? We could be living in damage, right? And we could be trying to work out of that, right? But it's uncomfortable, right? So we go to temporary pleasures, right? Because we have a future. We can have been living in hurt, pain, and neglect for however long, right? But we may not always be this way, and down the line we're gonna get through that. But we also allow temporary pleasures, right? The things that are right now to take us away from like what's down the line for us. Does that make sense? And that's exactly what Esau did. Like he traded his whole future away for like the right now. And if we lose sight of that, like Esau did, we can't achieve the life that, that we want to live someday. And if we're willing to trade the right now for the future, like, we're never going to quite be where we're supposed to be. Like I can't be all that God wants me to be if I'm so focused on like the temporary pleasures of right now. And I allow that to distract me from my path and my future. And I wanted to ask you, like, what are the things in your life? I think we need to realize this, like, what are the things in our life that are taking us astray, like taking us off the path for our future, right? Because we need to identify those things, right? Like for me, it used to be like clubbing and going out. Like I used to love it. Woman, clubbing, going out. I loved it. Like that was my thing. But I didn't realize, like, and thank God, like God pulled me away from that, because had I stayed in that was gonna take me away from what God called, what God was calling me, right? If I was still doing that, I wouldn't been able to get in that Bible and been praying and being able to get to know God more. So I can even make these videos right now, right? But had I been, and I didn't see that at the time, I didn't know what God had called for me, right? All I was just feeling was the temporary pleasures and, what made me feel good in the moment, right? But had I kept continuing to do that, I wouldn't been able to achieve what God was calling me or wherever he was drawing me to be, now or even 5, 10 years from now. Does that make sense? So don't let identify what's those things that we're doing right now to please you right now that's taking you off that path, right? And like what you can do about it to like stop those things. Does that make sense? And the last verse, in verse 33, it says, so Esau swore an oath, thereby selling all his rights as the firstborn brother. Esau swore an oath, selling all his rights as the firstborn brother. So he fed his temptation, right? He fed his, right now satisfaction, right? He was pleased and, settled in the moment, but he sold his whole future for right now. And I wanted to stop right there because a lot of times I wanted to stop right there because this was crazy to me. This is his own brother that did this. His own brother was willing to take his future away. And I think we often lose sight of that because I don't think Esau didn't realize what his brother was doing. Esau didn't know what his brother was doing. And it's the same with us. We don't realize what the people closest to us could be doing to us. The people the closest to us that we love dearly, what they could be doing to us, how the people closest to us are affecting our future, right? When I was ripping and running, clubbing and doing all that, I didn't realize like the people I was doing with that with, who was motivating me, like, yeah, Ross, let's go do this. How that was affecting, you know, where God, you know, how that was affecting my future, right? All the mayhem that was causing, right? And those closest to you are willing to take you off your path, like they, you know, like. Believe it or not, like that's the case, you know. And Esau didn't realize what his own brother was trying to do, and we must realize and identify that the people in our lives whose actions and intentions, like, really, you know, may take us off our path and really, you know, true, honestly, aren't pure, you know. And that's what we need to do. Because had Esau been realized that who Jacob really was, he wouldn't have been able to capable even of taking him off his path, right? So I wanted to, you know, to end it off right there. And I just wanted to, you know, really just put it on you guys' heart and really put it on, you know, make you guys aware of it. To one, you know, realize I wanted to really motivate you guys, like, don't allow the right now, like the pleasures and the pleasures and the things that make you feel good right now to take you off of like where your path is, right? We all, you know, aren't perfect. None of us are perfect, but none of us are perfect, and there's things that we're doing right now that could be jeopardizing our future, right? And there's people that we're surrounding ourselves with close to us that could be jeopardizing and taking us off the path of our future, of the things that, you know, that's awaiting us. So I just want to encourage you guys and leave you guys with that.